The way you react when a woman pulls away can either make her leave for good or come back completely obsessed with you. Most men mess everything up at exactly this crucial moment. When she starts to distance herself, you panic. Try to start conversations, explain yourself, justify things. And that only makes things worse. Because in the world of seduction and female psychology, whoever loses control loses the game. But take it easy. Today, you're going to learn exactly what to do when this happens. And more than that, you'll understand how to turn her pulling away into a powerful emotional advantage. The kind of advantage that makes her rethink everything, question her, own decisions, and want to be part of your life again. When a woman starts pulling away, many men panic. They send a bunch of messages, call, try to set up dates at any cost. That behavior might seem natural. After all, no one wants to lose someone they care about. But the problem is that this reaction only pushes her further away. Desperation sends a very clear message. I need you to feel okay. And that's the fatal mistake. When she sees that you're emotionally dependent, the magic starts to fade. Female attraction is deeply tied to the perception of value and emotional security. A man who loses control and freaks out at the first sign of distance shows weakness, and that, even unconsciously, creates repulsion instead of attraction. Have you ever seen that happen to a friend? Or maybe you went through it yourself without realizing. She starts taking longer to reply, acts colder, and you increase the contact, thinking you're going to save the relationship. But the effect is the opposite. She feels pressured, loses interest, and starts seeing you as insecure, not as the man she was once attracted to. The right response is counterintuitive. You need to step back, not as a punishment or a game, but as a way of showing that your life doesn't revolve around her. A woman who pulls away wants to see how you'll react. And if she sees a balanced man who remains focused, confident, and in control, that changes everything. That's the kind of behavior that creates the magnetism that makes her want to come back. Not every bit of distance means she lost interest. In many cases, pulling away is just an emotional response to something that bothered her, even if she never says it out loud. Women test, observe, and evaluate a man's behavior before giving themselves emotionally. And this disappearing act could be a reflection of that. Sometimes she felt things were moving too fast. In other cases, maybe you said something that made her feel uncomfortable, insecure, or undervalued. She might even be dealing with personal issues and decided to pull away without involving you. The point is, if you don't understand the real reason, you'll likely react in the worst way possible, creating even more distance. Now stop and think. Have you ever asked yourself what motivated her to pull away? Was it something you did or something she perceived? It might have even been your silence, a poorly timed comment, or a behavior that had nothing to do with her, but that she misinterpreted. Understanding that nuance is what separates a mature man from an impulsive one. I want to hear from you. Have you ever been in a situation where a woman pulled away and you were left confused, not knowing why? Write in the comments what happened. Your story could help other guys better understand this emotional game and avoid making the same mistakes. There's a fine line between maintaining composure and coming off as emotionally unavailable. When she pulls away, a lot of men think they need to respond with total indifference, as if ignoring her is the key to turning things around. But what actually works is maintaining a subtle, mature, and steady presence, not a forced or dramatic silence. The difference is in the tone. A smart man stays centered, responds when necessary, but doesn't force interactions. He keeps living with purpose without closing himself off completely. That shows emotional maturity, something extremely rare and valuable. It's like saying, I'm here, but I don't need this to feel okay. Let's go with a practical example. Imagine she stopped initiating conversation, but still views your messages. Instead of confronting her or cutting contact, you simply shift the rhythm. You reply calmly, but stop initiating. You post less. You focus on your routine. She'll notice something has changed, and that perception plants a seed of doubt in her mind. When she realizes that you're not seeking validation or trying to force a connection, the value she assigns to you starts to rise. This isn't coldness, it's emotional intelligence. You create space for her to feel your absence and, as a result, start wondering if she's really lost you. That discomfort can be the trigger that brings her back willingly. Silence isn't always absence. When used intentionally, it becomes one of the most powerful tools to spark a woman's interest. Strategic silence isn't about disappearing in a childish way. It's about limiting access. It's like saying without words, "My time is valuable, and not everyone gets free access to it." Many men underestimate the impact of well-applied silence. They think they need to keep the conversation going to show interest, but the real magnetic effect happens when you create pauses, natural, respectful ones, that spark curiosity. That space, that silence is where she starts thinking about you. Imagine that you two were talking frequently, and suddenly she changes the pace. Instead of trying to fill that space, you simply accept it. No explanations, no demands. You carry on with your life without justifying anything. This isn't playing games at its balance. The absence of a reaction activates emotional parts of her brain connected to doubt and anticipation. And it's precisely in that state that obsession starts to take root. She thinks, why didn't he react? Has he lost interest? Has he already moved on? This kind of thinking stirs up ego, vanity, and insecurity. And if she still has any interest, that's when she starts chasing. Silence, when used well, is noise in her emotional world. There's a subtle way to turn the tables without saying a single word. Instead of confronting or asking for explanations, you trigger what I call reverse curiosity. It's when, in an authentic way, you start sending signs of change. And these aren't forced changes. They're evolutions she didn't expect to see so soon. A woman notices when a man starts taking better care of himself, seems lighter, or shows a new spark in his eyes. Whether it's you casually posting a photo from a quick trip, or speaking with more confidence in a regular conversation, all of that communicates one thing: you're growing, and without her, that kind of signal doesn't go unnoticed. That's when doubt sets in. Is he seeing someone else? Has he forgotten about me? Even if she doesn't say anything, that question echoes in her mind. This happens because instinctively, many women have an unconscious need to keep the attention of someone who's shown interest. And when that attention disappears without explanation, discomfort arises. But pay attention. This isn't about provoking jealousy in a childish way. The goal is to create contrast, to naturally show that you're evolving, with or without her. That activates the instinct of competition, the fear of loss, and most importantly, the revaluation trigger. That's when she starts looking at you differently, like she's rediscovering someone she thought she already knew. The biggest mistake a man can make when she comes back is welcoming her with blind enthusiasm, as if nothing ever happened. That completely destroys the value you built through your posture during the distance. When you make it too easy for her to return, it sends the message that any behavior on her part will always be forgiven, without consequence. That attitude causes a dangerous side effect. She loses emotional respect. That doesn't mean you should treat her with coldness or arrogance, but rather that your openness needs to be calibrated. Show that you're not holding a grudge, but you're also not just picking up right where things left off. There's a new rhythm now, and she needs to sense that. For example, if she texts you wanting to talk or suggests meeting up, avoid responding right away or appearing overly available. Say you'll think about it, that you need to check your schedule, and say it naturally. This isn't a game, it's just positioning. The reunion can't be a guaranteed reward for someone who simply decided to come back. If you want to maintain respect and increase attraction, the key is showing that you learned from the distance. That now you understand your value, you're clear about what you want, and you're only willing to accept what aligns with that. When she realizes she has to put in effort to regain your attention, the whole game changes. The secret to not living in a cycle of distancing and returning is raising your standards. When you become a man with a clear purpose, a defined vision, and emotional self-sufficiency, women naturally adjust their behavior around you. You stop being reactive and start being selective. And that shift changes everything. Turning distance. Into lasting attraction starts when you stop seeking stability in her emotions and build stability in your own posture. Women respect and desire men who know where they're going. When she feels that your energy doesn't depend on her approval, respect becomes automatic, and desire comes right after. This is where many fail. They want to win her back but remain the same man she walked away from. The key isn't to win her back, it's to rebuild yourself. A man in constant evolution becomes unpredictable, in the best way. Not because of instability, but because of growth. That generates admiration, the fuel of lasting attraction. You don't need to make her come back obsessed. You need to become the kind of man she can't stop thinking about. Because she knows that if she's not by your side, someone else will. Enjoy everything you've become. And when she feels that, she won't want to leave your life again. She'll want to be part of it, by choice, not out of need.